When you hear the name Hulk Hogan, what comes to mind? A red and yellow warrior? A wrestling icon? A pop culture phenomenon? What if I told you he was all of that? And so much more. This isn't just the story of a wrestler. It's the story of a man who changed the world of entertainment, inspired millions, and built a legacy far beyond the squared circle. This is everything Hulk Hogan did in his life. A journey of power, fame, fall, and redemption. Born as Terry Gene Bollea in Augusta, Georgia, he grew up in Florida with dreams far from the wrestling ring. He wanted to be a musician. Terry played bass guitar in local rock bands, chasing fame with strings instead of steel chairs. He was big, strong, and had a presence, but he hadn't yet found his purpose. That all changed the day he walked into a wrestling gym. There, he met Hiro Matsuda, a legendary trainer known for breaking bodies before building wrestlers. And that's exactly what he did. On Hogan's first day of training, Matsuda broke his leg. A brutal message. This business isn't for the weak. Most would have quit, but Terry didn't. He came back, day after day, bruised, beaten, determined. And through that pain, through that fire, something new began to form. The long-haired bassist from Florida slowly transformed into something bigger, larger than life. That's when Terry Bollea died, and Hulk Hogan was born. The band gigs were over. The arena lights were calling. Hogan joined the WWF in the early 80s, and it wasn't long before he became a sensation. In 1984, he defeated the Iron Sheik to become WWF champion. And that's when Hulkamania exploded. He headlined the first-ever WrestleMania. He teamed up with celebrities like Mr. T. He body-slammed Andre the Giant in front of 93,000 fans at WrestleMania 3, a moment etched in wrestling history forever. Hulk Hogan was more than a champion. He was a superhero to an entire generation. In the 1980s and early 90s, Hulk Hogan wasn't just a wrestler. He was a phenomenon. He exploded beyond the ring and became one of the biggest pop culture icons on the planet. Hollywood came calling. He starred in movies like No Holds Barred, Suburban Commando, and Mr. Nanny. Were they critically acclaimed? No. But for kids? Hogan was a superhero in real life. He even had his own animated cartoon, Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling, bringing his character to Saturday morning TV. But it didn't stop there. He popped up on late-night talk shows, made cameos in commercials, and smiled from the covers of magazines. And the merchandise? Endless. Action figures, t-shirts, lunchboxes, bedsheets, school supplies. You name it. Hulkamania was printed on it. You couldn't walk into a toy store, turn on the TV, or go to a mall without seeing that yellow and red everywhere. Hulk Hogan wasn't just wrestling anymore. He was everywhere. In 1994, Hulk Hogan shocked the wrestling world. He left WWE and joined rival promotion WCW. Something fans never saw coming. But even bigger than that was what came next. In 1996, Hogan did the unthinkable. He turned heel. He walked into the ring, dropped his clean-cut image, and became Hollywood Hulk Hogan, joining forces with Kevin Nash and Scott Hall to form the New World Order, the NWO. It was bold, it was risky, and it was brilliant. For the first time in over a decade, Hogan wasn't the hero. He was the villain, arrogant, ruthless, cocky, and fans absolutely hated him. But they couldn't stop watching. WCW took off. Ratings skyrocketed. And for 83 straight weeks, WCW dominated WWE. All thanks to the NWO and Hogan's reinvention. He wore black. He talked trash. He spray-painted titles. And somehow, even as the bad guy, he was still the main attraction. Once again, Hulk Hogan wasn't just part of the business. He was leading the revolution. After WCW was bought by WWE, many thought Hulk Hogan's story was over. But in 2002, he returned, and the crowd erupted. The moment his music hit, fans lost their minds. It wasn't just nostalgia. It was history walking back into the ring. And then came WrestleMania X8, Hulk Hogan vs. The Rock, old school versus new school, icon versus icon. The match wasn't just memorable. It delivered one of the loudest crowd reactions in wrestling history. Every move, every stare, every moment. The audience was electric. But Hogan wasn't done. He went on to feud with the new generation's top stars, The Undertaker, Brock Lesnar, Shawn Michaels. And he held his own. In fact, he shocked the world again by winning the WWE Undisputed Championship at age 48. Most careers would be long over by then. But Hulkamania? It was still running wild. In 2005, Hulk Hogan received one of wrestling's highest honors. He was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. And who introduced him? None other than Sylvester Stallone. It was a fitting tribute, one icon honoring another. But Hogan's story didn't stop there. He later joined TNA Wrestling, a smaller promotion looking to grow. With Hogan on board, they gained media attention and visibility, but not without controversy. Some praised his star power. Others criticized his creative influence. Still, he stayed in the spotlight. Through the years, Hogan remained active in media. He starred in reality shows like Hogan Knows Best, giving fans a behind-the-scenes look at his life and family. He did endorsements, made public appearances, and continued to be part of pop culture, even outside the ring. No matter where you looked, Hulk Hogan's presence was felt. Decades after his debut, he remained a recognizable face. Love him or hate him, Hulk Hogan was still one of the most famous wrestlers of all time. Behind the spotlight, behind the fame, Hulk Hogan was facing battles most fans never saw. Years of wrestling had taken a toll on his body. Multiple surgeries, chronic pain, and constant physical setbacks. His personal life wasn't any easier. He went through a very public divorce. Then came a painful family crisis involving his son, which brought even more media attention and emotional strain. But the biggest blow came in 2015. A private recording surfaced, exposing Hogan making racist remarks. The fallout was immediate. WWE cut all ties. His name was erased from their website, and even his Hall of Fame legacy was removed. It was the darkest chapter of his career, a moment that shattered the image many had of their childhood hero. Hogan did apologize. He spoke publicly. Some fans chose to forgive him. Others couldn't. But one thing was clear. Even icons are human. They rise, they fall, and sometimes they don't come back the same. Hogan was eventually welcomed back to WWE, not as a full-time performer, but as a legend. His legacy, though controversial, is massive. He revolutionized pro wrestling. He made WrestleMania a global brand. He brought wrestling into mainstream pop culture. And whether you loved him, hated him, or criticized him, you never ignored him. Hulk Hogan's life is a story of glory and pain, fame and failure, strength and struggle. But through it all, one thing remained true. He inspired millions. He entertained the world. And he proved that legends don't just live forever. They become immortal.